Hi there, and welcome to the Sugar-Free February data analysis project compiled by Cancer Research UK. The only other materials that you should have right now are the dataset, which comes as an Excel file, and the overview, which comes as a PDF. The aims of this project are to introduce and teach statistics topics from the A-Level Maths curriculum, to provide experience exploring data using technology, to highlight how data might be used in the real world, and to teach useful and widely used Excel techniques. So, a quick bit of background. From this year onwards, students doing A-level or AS level maths will need to experience working with real data in the classroom and explore this data using appropriate technology. So, you'll be given a large data set called the LDS ahead of the exam, and you will need to study and familiarize yourself with that data set using Excel. Whilst you won't actually have to use Excel in the exam, you will need to be familiar with the large data set and answer questions on it. So let's open up the student pack to have a look at what this is all about. In February 2017, thousands of people attempted to cut down on sugar as part of Cancer Research UK's Sugar-Free February campaign. We need to understand how successful it was. 2,000 volunteers took part in a study to help us. They estimated their January sugar intake, and then they measured their February sugar intake. They also provided some other information about themselves. You are going to use Excel and a variety of statistical techniques to analyze this data and produce a short report for the marketers who are planning next year's campaign. A number of tutorial videos are available to guide you through the analysis, and the methods and the language used in them have been tailored to the new A-Level Maths exams. You should work through the videos in order before starting your report. So let's take a look at this data set that we've been given then. First of all, this is the most common and useful way to lay out data. Each volunteer has their own row, and each column represents a different variable or a different field, basically a different piece of information about that volunteer. We'll go through the different variables now. First of all, we've got their gender. We've got their title. This is how they chose to be addressed by us. We've got their age. We've got their reason for taking part in Sugar-Free February. We've got their motivation level. Now, this is on a scale of 1 to 5, and this is how motivated that person considered themselves to be to cut down on sugar before they started their cutting down, where 5 means very motivated and 1 means not very motivated at all. Family/friends. This column tells us whether or not that individual had a close family member or friend who was also taking part in Sugar-Free February. Somebody with a 1 did have some family or friend, whereas somebody with a 0 didn't. Emails sent. Now, CRUK sent encouragement emails out to people throughout February to support them in their sugar reduction. Now, some people received emails daily, some people received them weekly, some twice weekly, some not at all, and so on. SM interactions stands for social media interactions. Now, this is how much that person interacted with Sugar-Free February social media pages throughout February. Now, an interaction could have been a like on a Facebook page, it could have been a retweet, and so on. Jan sugar estimate. Now, this is that person's best estimate for how much sugar they consumed in grams throughout January. Now, we ask people to give it to the nearest 100 grams. Finally, we've got their February sugar intake. They measured their sugar consumption throughout February and they gave it to us to the nearest gram. Note that this has been scaled up slightly to account for February having fewer days, so we can make a fair comparison between these two numbers without worrying about how many days in the month. So, what are you going to do with this? You're going to produce a report for people planning next year's Sugar-Free February. Let's take a look at page 2 of the student pack. On the left-hand side, we have a reminder of the different variables available, but the right-hand side talks a bit more about your report. Now, there are so many things that your report could focus on, basically anything that might be of interest to people planning Sugar-Free February for next year. Now, how long you spend on the task will dictate how many questions you are able to answer, but 3 or 4 might be nice. There are some initial ideas here, and the following page has a more comprehensive list of questions. Now, the questions have been divided into categories, and I recommend you try to answer one question per category to get a broad coverage of the stats curriculum. Some examples then. You might want to look at which age groups are most likely to take part in Sugar-Free February. Do people who normally have a higher sugar intake cut down more? Why do people take part in Sugar-Free Feb? Do regular encouragement emails help with sugar reduction? Can we predict how much somebody will reduce their sugar intake by? If so, how accurately can we predict that? Your report will be in PowerPoint, and you'll try to answer one question per slide, so it'll be quite a short PowerPoint presentation at the end. The slide might contain graphs or tables, and the last video in the video series will help you think about what your slides might look like. So, as mentioned, there are lots of tutorial videos to show you how you should go about answering these kind of questions and to teach you the stats material. Our suggestion is that you watch these videos in order and follow along in Excel. Most of the videos have short exercises scattered throughout, and you'll find the answers to these in your student pack. The format then will look something like this. You'll spend 3 to 4 hours working through the videos, doing the exercises as you go along. Once you've done that, you'll spend 2 to 3 hours working on your own questions and preparing your presentation. Finally, at the end, you may get some time to present your work. The conclusions that you come to will depend on what questions you've tried to answer or made up, and so it's not really possible to provide a set of right answers. However, generally asking yourself, is my answer sensible, helps to spot most of the errors you might make in stats. For example, if you get an average age of 0.7 years or a sugar intake of 1 million grams, that suggests that you've gone wrong somewhere. It's also worth noting quickly that in Excel, there are loads of different ways to achieve the same thing. And so the methods used in the videos aren't necessarily the easiest or the quickest, but they have been carefully thought through. So, have a play with your data file. Think about what questions you might like to answer. If it turns out that there are other questions you'd like to answer when you're finished, then that's fine, you can change your mind. Once you've had a play, head to the next video, tidying your data.